Ooh. So So what's been happening? Beautiful weather.
Yeah,
But you know what? On one hand, you say beautiful weather, then you read about the people next to the Russian River.
right. Yeah. Well, but then, okay, then you take it the next step. Why are they living there? You know?
That's what I told the wife. I said, well, you got to see it this way. Most of the time, that's living right next to the river is beautiful. Like Havana River
Yeah.
over here, the Trader Court.
Yeah.
It's beautiful there. Once in a while, they get these storms coming in, and you're going to get flooded or
Yeah.
threatened to be flooded. That's it. So,
You just have to know it's beautiful. This could happen.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and be ready.
and they know that too.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's cold. It's
But
cold.
overall, what could be best?
Oh yeah.
This rains and the dams and all, the reservoirs will all be full.
Right.
You know,
And snowpack and the whole shot.
of course, we're getting some warm storms, so it might just melt that snow, and then you got,
You get those issues. But yeah, it's so you just kind of
you
go
can't win both ways. It can't be 100%. It's just
right.
okay, but overall, it's a good thing that's happening.
It
Overall,
is. The world we live in. If we think about that, it's pretty good. Yeah.
it doesn't happen that often.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
There we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors for Madera County. Today is March 15th. The time is about 9:02. I'll call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, are there any items, any additions to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chairman, there's no addition to the agenda. However, we wanted to note that 7D wanted to be pulled at the department's request.
Okay. 7D. All right. Agenda item 2, County Council. Can you please read into the record closed session items?
Yes, Chairman and members of the board, there are several items for closed session. There are no labor negotiation discussions that need to take place, so I won't read in item 2A of the agenda under labor negotiations. There is anticipated litigation that your legal counsel wants to conference with you on under Government Code Section 54956.9. There's 2 of those cases. The remainder of the items, that being 6 of them, are under real property negotiations, and that's under Government Code Section 54956.8, all of them. Your agency negotiator for 3 of the, for 3 of those matters is your Director of Water and Natural Resources. One of the properties is owned by Costa View Farms, number 2. Under negotiations is price, terms, and conditions of the sale. Less Family Farms, the same items are under negotiation, and Cosen's Double C Farms property and McRee property. The APN numbers are on the agenda. Those will all be for discussions with your Director of Water and Natural Resources. The other real property negotiations with your County Administrative Officer for price, terms, and conditions. One of the negotiating partners is Shimmick Baker LLC, and the other is property owned by the county. There are no other items.
The farm you mentioned is East Family Farms.
Well, what did I
It's
write?
not Lest.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a
That's all right.
typo. Thank you. On the agenda, it says L-E-S-T, and,
It's I-E-S-T.
oh, it's I-E-S-T. It's written right. It's pronounced wrong.
No problem.
East, thank you.
That's an easy mistake to
Some
make.
people say iced.
Iced.
Yeah.
East family, thank you. No other items for closed session.
All right, we will go back to closed session. No.
Mike?
Item is,
At the very end.
you have the, that,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go upstairs and work it out, it's gonna come up for
it's not, it's at the very
For
end.
some reason, you detect a change, it's flashing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because it's 70. All right, yeah. I'll give you a text anyways. Thanks.
Did I read something about you? I thought I saw something in the paper.
You know something, I don't take the paper anymore, so.
Oh, never mind then.
I'm trying to.
To God be the glory. To God be the glory.
Welcome back. We're back out of closed session. County Council, is there anything to report out of closed session?
Chairman, there are no reportable action from today's closed session.
Thank you. And we'll start, I'd like to open and close this meeting in memory of Charles Diaz from Charles Diaz Trucking, and Mona Diaz's husband passed away this past Saturday. He was a wonderful man. Mona's been wonderful. Both of them are always very visible in the community and have done just a lot for the ranchos. So my thoughts and prayers are with Mona at this time and with the rest of the Diaz family. And just thank Charles for everything that he's done for our community. Are there any other supervisors that have any ready to open and close in? Seeing none. We'll move on to the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. And we have Pastor Roger Leach. And Andrea, if you'd like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
What an honor it is to, again, come and offer blessings upon this Board of Supervisors meeting today. And let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you this day that we can come and we can ask your blessings over this meeting. Lord, I pray for wisdom and I pray for fairness as they make decisions concerning the future of Madera County. As Psalms chapter number 90 and verse number 17 says, let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands. Lord, I pray that that be established this day. And Lord, we thank you for the rains. We thank you for just the wonderful glory of the grass and also the crops that are starting to bloom and prosper. We thank you that you're watching over us and providing safety for each and every employee of this county. We ask your blessings. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item 4, public comment.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record.
Good morning, all. We're blessed with a little bit of rain. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of rain. I'm here to speak on behalf
If you
of
could
all of
put
us.
your name.
Sorry, Igal Trebach. I farm around the ranchos for the last 30 years. The reason I wanted to come up here, I think that there is a subject that we need to keep on talking about and remind ourselves, and I thought it's important for me to step up and at least talk about it. The GSA, Sigma, and water, and the white area. The white area is the weakest of all the areas in order to deal with water management for themselves. There isn't much money, although Stephanie is doing a very good job on behalf of the county. I think we need to think about the following. We need to create an investment in recharging water, private investment, public investment, any kind of investment that we can. But if you were to invest money, you would expect some kind of a return for it. There is a way to bring in money and deal with the recharge, and that is to try and get credit for money spent on recharge projects. I've been talking about it for the last year or so, and I think it's just something that needs to be brought up to the public's forefront. It means that if we spend $1 million on recharge project, we should be able to get credit, not necessarily money credit, water credit. So if we are able to put in 1,000 acre-feet of water into the ground, maybe the investors of that project can get some credit for some of the water that was put in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Deborah Mahler, Building Official, County Fire Marshal. Back in January, we just advised everyone that there is a new Senate Bill 1205 that went out that does require the County Fire Marshal to do annual inspections of apartments, hotels, motels, and anything TOT funded. So with us today, I brought in Heidi Morris, who is a local gal up in Ahwahnee that is basically doing that inspection program. So so far, Heidi's been out there working for, we got what, about 2.5 weeks, and people are actually pretty supportive of the new program. So that's one thing that actually kind of surprised us. So when the government comes and knocks on their doors, usually people aren't, standing there with open arms. But so far, Heidi's been a great addition, and so she's here just to say hi.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Heidi.
Here? Yeah. So I'm just glad that I got the opportunity to work for Madera County. I am a resident up in the mountains in Ahwahnee. I've lived there my entire life. I'm the 5th generation. So I'm just glad that I've gotten the opportunity to help Madera County, improve Madera County, and I'm good with people, so I really enjoy my job, and thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Elisa Rivera, and I'm here this morning on behalf of Senator Ana Caballero, who represents Senate District 12, which encompasses Madera County. And I'm just here to introduce myself, to let the board know that we have an office in Merced, 1640 N Street. We are in a little bit of transition, so I don't have permanent business cards, but we are there. We're just looking to build relationships with the board and with the community, and kind of here just to let you know that we are available as needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave it here. Like I said, when we get a permanent card, we'll send out emails with the new address and phone number. But sorry. But for now, just wanted to kind of introduce myself and just to let you know that we are in Merced and we're looking to be to work and collaborate. Well, I'm going to try. There's lots of them that I'm kind of like going through, but we're doing our best to be visible and available in the community. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. Melissa De Silva, Chief of Staff to Chairman Frazier. I'm here today with Andrea Saldati. She's a Deputy Director for Public Works, as we all know, and we're going to provide you an update on the Bigman water sale from Rolling Hills.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We are here today to let you know that the privatization of Rolling Hills is complete. We did have a successful sale to Bakeman Water Company. They have taken possession of the system. All documents have been recorded. We were able to, through this process, we were able to create a roadmap as to how we go along this privatization road for other districts. So that is a monumental step in trying to reorganize our districts, making sure that we are fully functioning, making sure that everything is running as it should be. Through that process, we were able to refund a taxable bond to a tax-exempt bond to a taxable bond with the help of our treasurer tax collector, Ms. Tracy Kennedy. This has been probably a 2+ year process with the help of our legal counsel, Dale Bacigalupi, and we were actually able to accomplish this a month before we were scheduled to. So all in all, this was a very successful endeavor, and we now have a method and a means to get this done for other districts when it is necessary.
Thank you. So this was not an easy task, and there was a lot of really smart people working on it, but I just want to personally thank Andrea. This would not have happened without all of making sure that everything was on time and every I dotted and every T crossed. You really went above and beyond, and I really appreciate that. And Melissa, I appreciate there was a point where, this was new territory where we didn't know where we were going, and you were able to say, okay, let's stop, let's look at what is this, if this is ever going to be replicated, we need to know exactly what these, so we now have a better process, and the people of the Rolling Hills got what they wanted. The county was able to get out from that and go to a privatization. And I just want to thank both of you so much for what you did. And I think we now have, like I said, the first one, and not just doing the first one, but we have a way to replicate it. And that's the difference, is having that ability to replicate it, and actually when somebody else needs to do it, that they can. And so thank you for all of your hard work. Yeah.
Very good. Mr. Chairman, this morning I have the honor of introducing to the county, in the micro, in the world, in the macro, my new Chief of Staff, Nick Salinas.
Thank you. Supervisor Poitras said to keep it under 30 minutes, so I'll try. No, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I'm a lifelong Madeiran, a graduate of Madera High, come to you from the city of Madera, and so I'm really happy and fortunate to be here. Staff along the way, the onboarding process has been really smooth, from HR to IT to our own board staff. They've been all very helpful, so I just want to say thank you for that. I'm definitely hitting the ground running, whether it's the Homeless Coalition or the Arts Council. We have a meeting set up later this week for the airport, so it's really good to be involved in so many different projects, and I'm excited to work with every single one of them. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. We're
Welcome.
excited to have you, Nick.
Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll call close to public comment. Actually, I'm sorry, I've got one more. We'll be bringing them back later, but just wanted to congratulate the Madera South High School soccer team for their state championship victory. It's quite an accomplishment, so congratulations to them. All right, now I'll close public comment, and then we'll bring it to the consent calendar. Are there any items that any board member would like to have pulled for further discussion? All right, Supervisor Wheeler.
Yeah, on item C, does that money, is that covering all of Madera, eastern Madera County, whoever, Dennis?
I think it's just District 3, from what I've heard.
That's what I was wondering.
Well, we wanted to highlight District 3. No.
Must be District 3.
Well,
I just want to make sure we're covered up in the mountains, that's all.
yeah.
I mean, you got the homeless outreach services,
I'd be less than honest if I didn't say, I'm not sure, and we hadn't quite thought that through on that. When we originally got this grant funding to hire some outreach workers, less than honest, hadn't really thought about that. We will make sure that we have some type of coverage up there.
okay, I just want to make sure, otherwise we can pull it until you can make sure you have it.
No, that won't be.
Okay.
I mean, that's not necessary. I think it's.
Then outvote me anyway.
I appreciate you bringing that because we haven't thought about how we do it. We have some people up there, I'm kind of going through my memory right now,
Yeah.
that are doing some similar work with that,
Yeah.
that quite honestly, we probably don't have down here. So we will have some kind of coverage for outreach up there with homeless also.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because we got them there too, just like we do down here.
You're welcome.
Okay. And item F, I just, on that tree mortality disaster emergency, I just wanted to announce that when we hired that Blue Ridge company a year ago, February actually, to cut all those trees along our roads and our property up there that we own. We got a big stymie in the latter part of last year from the Forest Service because they wouldn't gonna let us cut any of the trees on Forest Service property next to our roads because they weren't declared non-value and then had a NEPA done. So the staff Blue Ridge, and the Forest Service worked like mad to get it done. He almost had it ready to do, and then the government shut down for those 30 days, whatever it was, so they didn't get it done. But they called me last Friday and said the detail's done, so they should start cutting trees on 274, 426, 222, et cetera, in this week and next week. So, and those were trees. I mean, if our road crew is here, Maud's here, you can ask how many trees that our staff had to go clear off the roads up there every time the winds or the snows came. So I wanted to thank everybody that was doing on that, and that's on item F. And item H, Community Economic Development Planning Division, that's for Gunner's deal. Is he paying for that? And the last, on Exhibit A, on number D, it says that it's temporary funding. What does that mean in temporary funding? Does he get his money back or something when he builds this, or what?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Treber, Community Economic Development. So the action before the board is for acceptance of the fire agreement study that was done. That was jointly funded. There's no reimbursement of that monies between the Riverstone Development and Gunner Ranch West. And that was conducted and determined that each development needs their own separate station. Right. The whole premise was to look at that. So the also before the board is the design concepts for the fire station that have been updated. Right. It was in about 2002 the board had adopted a fire station design. This latest one is a far superior option. It's a larger station and working with.
Holds the ladder truck and all that too.
Correct, yes.
But what does it mean, though, the temporary funding, and it's in that last sentence on, I could say number D, under Exhibit A, G. What, I mean, when it says temporary funding, is he's not funding it? I mean, I just didn't understand what that means.
Yeah, so this is in the adopted development agreement, and the other development projects are very similar to this. So the notion on that is that as the development builds out over years, 10, 15, 20-year time frame, eventually there will be a tax base subsequent to offset.
Keeps it growing.
Correct.
But who's paying for it up front?
Gunner Ranch West.
Okay, that's what the main answer I wanted to know.
Yep.
Because it just didn't look like that in the language on it. Thank you. Under J, I see our district attorney's here. Welcome, Sally. I think it's your second meeting you've been since you've been here, huh? When I first read this, I thought they were your employees, then I realized these three different people were making these contracts with to draw blood and do that kind of stuff. Are they registered people to do that? Are they with a company? I didn't quite understand.
They are. They're licensed phlebotomists. Sally Runner from the DA's office. They're licensed phlebotomists. So it's important.
I was going to try to say that word, but I got it spelled out here. PHLEBOTOMIST.
Yeah,
that was way too long for me to spell.
Common spelling. Phlebotomist, common spelling. Yeah. So it's important for us to have them, and you'll notice their response time. They need to respond in an hour.
1 hour, yeah.
We've got DUI collisions where we need to have blood tested. Time is of the essence.
Yeah.
So we keep a number of these people on contract so that we can always be sure to have them when we need them in an emergency.
Okay, so we've been doing this for a while. I've never seen this
Yes,
that I've been on here.
So my understanding is we have 5 currently, and we're adding 3 more.
Oh, that's what okay.
And so it's the exact same contract, and it just has to do with having depth, so that people have less time when they have to be on call, and they have to be the one who comes out in the middle of the night. Sometimes these calls happen at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Right.
So it pays us to have a number of people on contract.
Good, thank you.
And
I
Mr.
just.
Spachkalupi, I noticed, affirmed all these contracts, so
Oh, good.
we can be sure that they're squared away.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate putting it on here so that we knew what it was, because I had no idea. So, but I did look up that word because I didn't quite understand what it was, but I did find out what it was. If you're not that, you can't do that.
Right, no, you can be a licensed phlebotomist. That's one of the things I noticed you brought up our Madera South, that our high school students need to know in terms of career options. It's a great career.
Right.
It's very simple. It's a quick training course, and then you're a licensed phlebotomist. You can do all kinds of things in hospitals and healthcare. So it's a nice little career path that sometimes people miss.
Learned something today on that. And one last one on item M, public health again. The transfer budget of $2,876,000. how did we get that far behind that we have to transfer that much money all of a sudden?
So Sean Kirkpatrick, Public Health Department.
Is this mic
I
on?
just wanted to say that.
Is the mic on?
Sean Kirkpatrick,
Oh,
Public
that
Health
sounds
Department.
better. Thought you were squeaking there a while ago or something.
So this is money that was already budgeted. It's just moving it from one account to another. So this is our annual payment for drawing down IGT funds, intergovernmental transfer. And per recommendation of the auditor's office, they wanted to see the payment out of a different account this year. So it was really just for accounting purposes to show it as under account code 721-400 for professional and specialized services, as opposed to an operating transfer. And the main reasoning is that the payment is actually made as part of a larger contract and set of contracts, really, with the state and local healthcare plans in order to devote this amount of funding towards supporting the Medi-Cal population in our area. And then it helps draw down federal money that matches it. So by the health department putting forth millions of dollars, saying this is how we will spend this, it draws down a fair amount more money from the federal government that would otherwise be sitting on the table. And it brings in millions of dollars of revenue a year to the county. So it brings in at least an extra $2 million right now, about a year.
Okay, so this $2.8 million is, it's just, it's not that you were that far behind, you just, with auditor's report and stuff, you guys are just trying to get this corrected and.
It's just moving it from one account to another for accounting purposes.
Okay.
And it's actually adds to the payment to the state this year is actually a little higher than they were telling us to expect, which is a good thing. So it was an extra, you'll see,
The 318?
Yep, the extra 318. So the total payment is over 3.1 million. And it's a good thing because by them asking for a higher contribution, that's because they identified that it could draw down a higher amount of federal funds. So putting in the extra $300,000 will actually bring back a match of at least an extra $200,000 from the federal government. And then that's extra money that we can spend toward IGT. So it's just the more money that we can put up, generally the better, because it's matched by federal funds.
Okay, thank you, that's a good explanation. I got one more, I'm sorry. S.
No,
Ahmad, S, the Bass Lake sewer thing there, as I see it, they got all the lift stations done, and that's what this money's for. But what's next on the rehab for those sewer lines? I mean, that whole contract is to rebuild that whole thing, and I know they didn't quite have enough money or something to do the whole thing. You're doing it in stages. What's next on the list?
Good morning, I'm Adalkiat Public Works. Yeah, so this is stage 2 of 3 stages of the sewer plant improvement. Now, once this is done, now we're going to evaluate the situation with the spray field. So depending on the effluent that comes out and how everything is working, we will see how we're going to address stage 2, which is...
So everything else is done on that original deal we was going to do except for the spray field?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We haven't done anything in the spray field, but the hopes is the effluent is much cleaner. Maybe we could keep the status quo, or we can just see how we can do. There's transfers of lands and such.
Okay, what about the money that the people already paid up front?
We've utilized this money, so.
So all that money's used?
I'm not sure of the numbers. I don't have them with me right now.
Okay.
I can come back with you with a
Well,
report.
remember about
Of the bond.
40% of the landowners paid up front.
Correct.
So I just wondered if we didn't use it all, what happened with that money?
I can get you an accounting of all that.
Okay.
Shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, boss. Is that the ones you expected me to do?
No, I didn't expect you to do any of these, but.
Oh, okay.
So what we'll just do is we'll just have staff come to your house on Mondays and they can read you your whole.
That's a good idea, huh?
Calendar, yeah.
Where's your head at?
No. All right, is there any other questions on it from any other supervisor? If not, is there any public comment on the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
Roll call?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yeah.
What's your name, Frazier?
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, and then also another, we're on to that, for the additions or deletions from the agenda, Madam Clerk, would you like to read regarding 7D, in case anybody's here for that?
Yes, per the department's request, they requested that we pull item 7D. That is doc number 4820, discussion and consideration to adopt an urgency ordinance addressing industrial hemp growth and cultivation, and that's requested to be pulled until a future date.
Good idea.
All right, it is after 10:30, so we'll start with the public hearings. Item 6A.
6A, Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division, Common Diversion Facility Project. 1, hearing to adopt a resolution making findings concerning mitigation measures and projects alternatives, adopting mitigation measures and mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and certifying the final environmental impact report for the Common Diversion Facility Project. 2, hearing to adopt the resolution authorizing the Public Works Director to obtain permits and execute an agreement for development and operation of the Common Diversion Facility.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Treber, Community Economic Development Director.
Mike?
There it goes. Just takes a little delay. I do have a number of introductions for the board today. To my left is Bob Delp with Benchmark Resources, assisting in the environmental impact report. Dale Bachagalupi with County Counsel's Office. Ahmad Al-Kayad, our Public Works Director. And then to my right is Rick Hansen and Todd Wood with E-Corp, also assisting in the environmental impact report. Aurora Gonzalez with Kennedy Jenks on the designer, and Chuck Hansen with Hansen Environmental as well, and Jim Burrows here today. So we do have a brief PowerPoint presentation for the board's consideration, and we'll roll through that right now. So a little overview of this common diversion facility project in your presentation today. We'll talk about the agreement between County Service Area Number 16 and the Wastewater Treatment Plant LLC, different permits and regulatory approvals, our environmental review, and staff's recommendation to the board. So initially, a little bit about this common diversion facility project. It's been a joint effort to replace existing water intake facilities along the San Joaquin River, serving both CSA 16, the Summer Hill community, as well as the Tesoro Viejo trees and the Tesoro Viejo development. County Service Area 16 owns and operates an existing intake facility along the Summer Hill, as does Tesoro Viejo Trees and the Wastewater Treatment Plant LLC there. Next is a map just showing kind of exactly where we are in the world along the San Joaquin River there, and you'll see we'll have some blow-ups of this different area, but you see identified there the existing Summer Hill community and the Tesoro Viejo approved master plan community there and their existing intake facility. The next one is a kind of magnified blow-up of this area that we're speaking of specifically. These are all existing, and in essence, we're talking about removing those existing intake facilities and that man-made cove, taking it back to its natural vegetative state, and having one common diversion facility serving both those development projects. We go through, talked a little bit about this. It would include replacement of the existing CSA 16 pumps and the associated equipment there. I discussed briefly the new intake and pipe for the use by both Wastewater Treatment Plant LLC and the CSA 16. We would remove those existing intakes pipes. There are a number of them out there now, and install what we refer to as an intertie between wastewater treatment LLC and the CSA 16 for emergency backup purposes. And we would also backfill the man-made cove and restore the riverbank there as well. Here's another slide that shows the new facilities and how they situate in the world, and specifically how they're all interrelated and intertied there. You'll see the shared CDF components, that's our common diversion facility components, including an intake, state-of-the-art fish screening, and pipe to the existing junction cross there. New pumps, water meter, pipe connection to the existing water line and the existing intertie there. The next slide is an important note just to make for the board and for also the public to hear, right? We're dealing with 70% plans at this stage, which are included in the final EIR and submitted and to the regulatory agencies via permit applications. And the Director of Public Works, the action before the board would give direction to AMAD to submit those applications and to make design changes as necessary. It's an important note here that the scope of the EIR and the review of the environmental issues have an area that encompasses all of the existing facilities that are out there and these new facilities. So to the extent and degree that there could be a slight design change or a differing pump that ultimately is installed, or a 6-inch line goes to an 8-inch line, it's important to note that the EIR does look at and has looked at a disturbance area that encompasses all of the potential disturbed areas of the existing facilities and the new facilities. Just want to make that clear for the board as design continues to evolve and come to 100% design of that. A little bit about the construction phase. We're talking 2 construction seasons, and this is in working with the state and regulatory federal agencies. The construction time frame would be from approximately June to early September, starting in this year and commencing and finishing in the 2020 year. There'll be coffer dams installed in the river for work, fish rescue and relocation plan for dewatering, and a number of other aspects of this project during the design and construction phase. Also filling in the man-made cove and restoring the shoreline habitat out there to its natural state. Next is a really important part, and a lot of work has been put into the agreement between the CSA 16 folks, the county, and WWTP as well. So we've worked and sat down with the Sumner Hill Homeowner Association Board. We have had routine discussions with them on this agreement for a better part of, since 2017. When we entered into a memorandum of understanding to commence this work. So there's been a lot of work, a lot of effort gone into that, and I think we have a good agreement for both entities and especially CSA 16. Some of the highlights I would say that the existing Sumner Hill community isn't paying for these new pumps, they're not paying for this new intake facility, they're not paying for any aspect of this project, the county isn't at this stage. If and at any time into the future there is a decision to consolidate where the Sumner Hill raw water coming out of the river would be treated by the Tesoro Viejo water treatment plant, then at that time there is a 4.89% connection fee of this, all of this cost and work. So there is no cost to Sumner Hill today. And unless there is a decision to consolidate, they will never pay for that, and they'll get new pumps, they'll get a new intake facility, and improvements to their system.
Where does the 4.89% number come from?
Sure, that's a very good question, and it's calculated based on the maximum allowed extraction on the water rights of each entity that is extracting water out there. Sumner Hill, 150 acre foot. And Tesoro Viejo has a maximum extraction permitted out of that common diversion facility. So you look at those maximum, and that's where it came up to 4.89% is what makes up Sumner Hill's extraction capabilities that they can pull out of that facility.
So it's relative to what it would be taken out, so it's
correct.
Okay, that's good.
So the next couple slides just talk about the different regulatory and required permits and approvals for this project. We'll be working with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Department of Fish and Wildlife, the state, Regional Water Quality Control Board, State Lands Commission, the Central Valley Flood Protection Board. So that's just a quick synopsis to tell you that there are a number of state and federal agencies that we have been working with and will continue to work with through this project aspect. Did want to hit some of the high notes on the environmental review for the board's consideration. We did prepare, as I said, an environmental impact report, which is before your board. That's your initial consideration is for certification of the final environmental impact report that's before you. That document evaluated the environmental impacts and identified the feasible mitigation and significant impacts. It identified alternatives for the project. There was opportunities for the public and state agencies for input into this document. We had a scoping meeting in March of 2018. That was a noticed hearing, and we circulated the draft EIR from November through December of 2018. We also sent notices to the Native American tribal representatives for requesting consultation and inviting consultation. We did not receive any requests for that consultation process through that. As was previously stated, we had the EIR. It was circulated from November 9th to December 26th. We received 8 letters and emails as well. Those were from U.S. Fish and Wildlife, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, State Lands Commission. We did get some response via email, one from the Sumner Hill Homeowners Association on the project as well. The final EIR that's before your board responds to all of those comments we did receive and addresses the concerns within that. There were some revisions to the EIR based on those comments, dealing primarily with the stormwater runoff and utilizing best management practices for that, and some clarification to mitigation measures. We also shortened the construction time frame. As I discussed, that's going to be approximately June through September. That was based on some of the state and federal agencies' comments and input into the project design that we've had to date. With that, staff is recommending that the board approve the resolution to certify the final EIR, adopting the CEQA findings of fact and the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approve the resolution authorizing the Director of Public Works to obtain and execute the permits, those necessary state and federal permits and approvals, as well as executing the agreement between the Sumner Hill CSA 16 and WWTP LLC after all of that state and federal required permitting is done. With that, we are available for any questions the board may have.
Are there any questions? All right. Is there any public comment regarding this item?
Good morning. My name is Chris Akery. I'm the Executive Director of Revive the San Joaquin. Many of you have heard me before. I've been up here for the project over the last decade. I've had pretty much the same comment, and there hasn't been any resolution to date. The project's heading to a wall. That wall is, it's going to have to face the fact that there are no water rights from the San Joaquin River for this facility. I'm requesting today that the board deny the EIR and send it back and at least include the state regulatory authority, the State Water Resources Control Board. They've been issuing statements to this county, and the county's kind of turned a deaf ear. But I'd like to just read into the record a couple of the letters sent from, I sent several to each of the members here. This is a letter to the county from the director of the State Water Resources Control Board from August 20th of 2012. In a letter dated November 3rd, 2010, the executive director of the State Water Board confirmed that water diverted from the San Joaquin River at holding contract number 7's point of diversion below Friant Dam was being diverted without a substantiated basis of right under California water law. It goes on, the executive director warned the parties, however, that the unauthorized diversion or use of water is a trespass subject to the administrative civil liability, and he encouraged the successors and interests to holding contract 7 to either pursue the acquisition of a water right for their diversions in a timely manner or acquire an alternate source of water. This hasn't happened. And it goes on to say, in this case, the decision to close the complaint and not to initiate enforcement action was an exercise of the State Water Board's enforcement discretion. The decision was not based impliedly or otherwise on a finding of no injury to other legal water users on the river. or on a finding of no harm to the environment. Accordingly, the issue of whether diversions under the contract cause injury or harm has not been decided. And I don't want to act like my hair is on fire. I've been saying the same thing to the county for almost a decade now, and there has been no effort to include these water rights into any decisions to build these facilities. The main pump facility has already been built. Now we're proposing on actually building the pipes that go into the river, and we still haven't addressed this issue. Another letter, and these letters go back, I think I have over 90 correspondences with the USBR and the property owners, the USBR, State Water Resources Control Board, and staff. But for some reason, there's just an army of consultants and lawyers that just keep pushing this issue farther and farther. So I'm just saying there is a wall. This project's going to hit that wall, and it's going to be determined there's no San Joaquin River water rights. Another letter from the State Board to Mr. Sanger, McCaffrey's lawyer. It says, valid claims of right cannot be supported for the diversion and use of water that has been occurring for the past 30 years. There should be, in all caps, urgent cause for concern. If water cannot be legally diverted to supply the new development proposed by your clients, they might want to consider changing their plans, at least until such time as an adequate source of water supply can be obtained via purchase or other means from a party or parties who have a valid basis of right. Mr. Marchiondo and the owners of the lots within Sumner Hill subdivision will also want to carefully consider what course of action they should take to best protect their financial interests. It goes on, the tone of my recent communication was intended to be serious, not because of any representations made by Mr. Acree, but instead because I have considerable experience evaluating water rights. And it goes on about how these owners should protect themselves from this impending enforcement action. Recent events have made it quite clear that there is not enough water in the San Joaquin River to satisfy all potential uses, including the parties who hold valid contracts with the USBR for CDP supplies and in-stream public trust uses. Allowing unauthorized diversions to occur resulting in harm to legal users of water contrary to the requirements of Water Code Section 1052 and 1825 is not a wise course of action. So I also have about 60 letters that go back to 1981 when Ms. Peck first bought the property. USBR internal memos, letters to the Baker, Manick, and Jensen.
10 seconds, just so you know.
Yeah, we do not agree that the contract provides for diversions from the San Joaquin River for beneficial uses under Holding Contract 7. It is our opinion that Mrs. Peck must apply to the SWRCB and obtain a water rights permit to divert water from the river.
Thank you, Mr. Acree.
Can I ask him a question?
No, we're gonna do all the public comment and then.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning, Brent McCaffrey. I'm representing Tesoro Viejo, WWTP LLC, and I'd just like to say that we support this project. We support your staff and their thorough work. We'd like to be complimentary of that. And also Sumner Hill and working cooperatively with us as well on the agreement. And thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll call close to the public hearing. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, sorry. That first letter, who was that from? Chris?
First one was from the State Water Resources Control Board to the county staff.
And then the second letter, what date was that one?
That was a previous letter that was August 12, 2009, and that was in response to John Sanger.
Okay, that's all. I just needed those dates. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I did want to allow for Jim Burrows on the team to certainly address some of the statements that would be made. I would make it in short, holding contract 7, that is certainly a moot point. That water is not being served for this development, but I'll let Jim certainly speak a little more to that.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Jim Burrows on behalf of Tesoro Viejo. To the comments by Mr. Acree, the comments were made with regard to water rights issues that were in play in 2012. Here we are in 2019. We at Tesoro Viejo have evolved since then. where in 2012, there was a reliance of Tesoro Viejo on holding contract number 7, which is what Mr. Akery was referring to, for diversion of water at the pumps. Since then, Tesoro Viejo has decided to switch to reliance on a contract, a water supply contract with the Madera Irrigation District for 2,800 acre-feet per year. That contract was first signed in 2012 and has since been amended and revised. But that is the water that will be diverted by Tesoro Viejo at the pump station, not the holding contract water that Mr. Akery was referring to. I don't have any comment at this time on the holding contract and the legal issues associated with the holding contract, but just to be clear, it is not that water, it's MID MID contract water that we will be diverting.
And those are 1913 water rights.
They're pre-1914 rights, that's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Supervisor Rogers?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we certify the resolution finding mitigations adequate and certify the EIR and direct the Public Works Director to obtain permits and execute the agreement for development and operation of the common diversion facility.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call.
I'd also like to say one quick thing in that regard. This represents a significant improvement over what's there now. 7 pipes that are dilapidated, and this is a significant improvement for the developments that are present and for the future. So, thank you.
Mr. Rogers, just a question. Was your motion, this is Dale Boccigaluppi of the table, was your motion to approve both resolutions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it was. And I second that too, so.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, staff.
Item 6B.
6B, Board of Directors, Special Districts, Maintenance District Number 42, Meadowview, Public Works Department, Administration Division. Hearing to adopt a resolution to increase water service rates on property within Maintenance District Number 42, Meadowview.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get to this, I didn't recognize him with his new beard, but now we're beard buddies. Councilmember Derek Robinson from the City of Madera, thank you for being here today and attending our.
I didn't recognize him either.
Yeah, I didn't. I said I didn't see you growing it. I just saw it now full grown. Yeah.
Maybe that's overnight.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ahmad Alfiat with Public Works. With me here, Ms. Anders Saldate with Public Works as well. This is item 6B. It's the hearing to adopt a resolution to increase water rate service rates on properties within Maintenance District 42, Meadowview, MD 42. So, Andrea, she can take it from here.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We met with the community of MD42 on January 22nd. They graciously had us at their annual homeowners meeting. And at that point, we discussed this rate increase with them, answered any and all questions that they had. At that point in time, there was no major opposition to the rate increase. We have since received 1 opposition letter. We would have needed 19 votes in order to oppose the rate increase. We only have 1 at this point in time. They do have $7,000 worth of debt. 1 year they took out a cash flow loan. That debt will be paid back over a 5-year span of time. And their last rate was set in 2011. With that, I'm here for any questions.
Are there any questions? Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's Supervisor Wheeler.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for going out and reaching out and talking to the people and showing what it takes to do what we got to do to make these all stable, all these districts. So thank you, staff, very much, and thank the citizens there too.
All right. Seeing no further questions, this is a public hearing. I'll now open the floor to the public. Is there any members of the public wishing to make comment?
Good morning.
Good morning. Bar Colbert, Madera County resident. Question, you said that there was $7,000 in debt for the Maintenance District 42, is that correct?
Yes.
How does it go in debt?
When expenses exceed revenue, we come before the board and ask for a cash flow loan. That debt is considered, the cash flow loan is considered their debt.
Is that standard practice for all the MDs and CSAs?
Yep.
Yes, that's standard practice.
Because I understood that there was certain things that couldn't be done at CSA 19 because there was no funding. The water portion of the funds were used up.
No, at CSA 19, we did come to the board for 2 or 3 cash flow loans. That was part of the debt that was that had to be paid off at the time of closing. It was when there was not enough money to finish off the projects with the treatment facility as well as the pump for the well. We did come forward and there were 2 to 3 cash flow loans made during that time.
Okay, so that's basically standard procedure then?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for clarification.
Just, can I?
Supervisor
Oh,
Wood?
you got public
Yeah,
comment.
it's
Go.
turn to public comment. So is there any other public comment regarding this item? Seeing none, I'll call close to the public hearing. And Supervisor Wheeler, you have a
Yeah,
question?
thank you. I just want everybody to know that we've been loaning these special districts money since I've been on the board, and we all have since we've been here. It's, you know, it's really, we shouldn't be doing that because it's using public money, but that's the reason we have these hearings to, so they can all pay them back. They all have to pay them back. They don't get away from that with nothing. And and that's not $7,000, one of the small ones. We're working with one now, it's 90,000. So it's just part of doing business. I hate doing it this way, but that's the reason we done, that's why I thank Todd Miller for doing that audit that we authorized last year. So we know what each district is in debt with, and so we're trying to get these all corrected, and we've got 3 here in a row to do it. And thank staff for getting these done, because we have to get these done and get them all stabilized with a cost of living portion in every one of these we pass, so that they won't be in this kind of a dire strait again. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve 6B.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that many of, most of these debts are a result of the PG&E rates are climbing, and their current rates are not offsetting the cost of that. So that's what's occurring here. When you've got escalating rates, you have to have an increase in your
And that's all,
payout.
yeah, that's also coupled with, over 20 years of no rate increases,
Exactly.
15 years, 10 years of no rate increases.
Right.
Everything's gone up during that time, and
Nothing
so
stays static.
built into these new rates is
CPI.
CPI, so
Yeah.
that we're not having to get behind again.
Now, you said the vote came positive, right?
There was only 1 vote in opposition.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
You want to ring it? Oh,
Yeah.
Would the supervisors like to try their vote links? Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
6C?
6C, Board of Directors, Special Districts, Maintenance District Number 58, Sierra Highlands Public Works Department Administration Division. Hearing to adopt a resolution to increase water service rates on property within Maintenance District 58, Sierra Highlands.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Again, Ahmad Al-Kayat and Andrew Saldate with Public Works. This hearing is to adopt a resolution to increase water service rates on properties within Maintenance District 58, Sierra Highland. And Andrea?
So MD 58 does not carry any current debt. Their rate was last set in 2013. They do have a little bit of a cash balance, but what we have seen is that they are drawing down upon that cash balance. This rate study does take into account an initial increase, and then afterwards, it's mainly just a CPI to keep them steady and to build a little bit of a reserve. We would have needed 14 letters in opposition. We have not received any as of this point. And with that, I'm here for any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there any members of the public wishing to make comment? Seeing none, I'll call and close the public hearing. Bring it back to the board for action.
Move to approve item 6C.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item 6D.
6D.
Much of the same. Go.
Board of Directors, Special Districts, Maintenance District 85, Valita, Public Works Department, Administration Division. Hearing to adopt a resolution establishing increased water service rate and levying the increased rate within Maintenance District 85, Valita.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ahmad and Andrea with Public Works. This is our last hearing to adopt a resolution establishing increased water service rates and levying the increased rate within Maintenance District 85, Valita. This is the last one for today, not absolute last.
How many votes?
They would have needed 11 votes in opposition. We have received 1 letter in opposition at this point in time. Their last rate increase was in 2009, and that was to account for a $40,000 loan taken out that was needed to deepen and equip a well. They have since been making payments on that $40,000 loan. That loan will commence December of this year. At that point in time, we are going to keep that debt service amount on their rate and then just increase by a CPI.
Beautiful.
Any questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll open a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to come forward? Seeing none, I'll call close to the public hearing, bring it back to the board for action.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
I'll second. Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, I need to take a quick 5-minute break.
Okay.
Those levy properties, we just own the dry well until it's not being used for dry wells. Can we get the grant?
Mics are live.
I like it.
Tom?
I like it.
All right. Now that brings us to public session, 7A.
7A, Board of Supervisors Department, District Number 3, discussion and consideration of entering into an amendment to MCC number 11137-18 with Madera Arts Authority for the Joint Powers Agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Rhonda. I'm the representative on the JPA for the Madera Arts Authority, and there are 2 minor amendments. One is to delete regarding the governing body from an unincorporated area of and insert who resides in, and then the second one is with each officer being able to serve a maximum 2 consecutive terms. So it was just simply some very minor things, and the school district approved the amendments. We're here today, and then the city will be looking at that action tomorrow night. So
Term limits, is that to get you out?
that is, exactly.
All right. Are there any other questions regarding this from the board? Not, any members of the public wishing to make comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll call close to the public comment portion of this item and bring it back to the board for action.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second?
We have a motion and a second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Yes. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
All right, 7B.
7B, Behavioral Health Services Department, discussion and consideration to authorize additional compensation for supplemental duties pursuant to Madera County Code Section 2.60.310 in the amount of 7.5% per month for Valerie De La Fuente, effective March 1st, 2019.
Good morning again, Board.
Is that mic on?
Yes, it's on.
Yes,
there
maybe
it
I
is.
wasn't talking loud enough. As it says in our agenda item, we have come to need a supervising nurse, and we do not have that position. We're working with the Department of Human Services, Resources, excuse me, and they are developing that position. Meantime, we have our RN who's taken on the additional duties and providing supervision to our other nurses. So that's why we're asking for this salary increase for her until we get a position established.
Are there any questions?
No.
Of Mr. Cook? All right, any public comment on 7B? Seeing none, I'll call close to public comment, bring it back to the board for action.
Move to approve.
Second?
Oh. Good job, Bob. Way to fill that gap. Roll call, please.
So I'm not clear who made the motion?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Give it to Max, that's fine.
But I clicked the box.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you. 7C.
7C, Community Economic Development Department Planning Division. Discussion, consideration of entering into a mitigation monitoring agreement that will fulfill mitigation measures of the preserve at Millerton Lake, also known as North Shore at Millerton Lake. Specific plan environmental impact report for the dedication of a fire station, fire equipment, and staffing, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Thank you, Mr.
There you go.
There it is. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Matt Trieber, Madera County Community and Economic Development Director. With me is Jamie Bax, my Deputy Director of Planning. We have a brief presentation for the board on this item. It's been a little time since we've had a North Shore, what was known as North Shore at Millerton Lake, now the Preserve at Millerton. The EIR project tentative subdivision approvals was done and adopted by the board in December of 2008. Within that, the EIR included mitigation measures for offering dedication of an improved fire station, a payment of fire impact fees, and an emergency response time of 10 minutes or less serving the development. As this project has progressed through the permitting and entitlement stage with the state and federal agencies, they have set aside through a conservation easement to handle their biological impacts of the development. They have set aside a large portion of the development, primarily all the stuff on the northern end of the project, as a open space conservation easement. The action before the board for consideration is identification and a refinement of the two adopted mitigation measures, which are listed before you in our presentation here, that talk about providing for a fire station and also having an ability to provide a 10-minute response time. With that, we did work with Matt Watson, our fire chief, and the developer in looking at that 10-minute response time and where that station could be sited in order to provide for that 10-minute response time. That will be further refined as we continue on this path. The action before you and the resolution for and the agreement for the board's consideration, just to hit the high notes for you, would require the development to fund one full-time equivalent firefighter prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. At that same time, they'd also have to provide the funding for a fully outfitted Type 6 fire engine as well prior to the framing of that first structure. They would also, subsequent to that, they'd have to provide a second, in essence, full-time firefighter within 2 years after the issuance of the 400th occupancy permit out in the development, as well as fund a second Type 6 fire engine, and a fire station would have to be dedicated on a parcel no less than 1 acre to 3 acres within the 2 years of that 400th building permit being framed up. So that is what's considered for the board today to comply with the mitigation measures identified in 2008. It's a further refinement of that. I am available with any questions the board may have.
Any questions? I'd like to thank staff and the preserve at Millerton Lake for working this out to make sure that there's good fire staffing out there. I think this is a good place to land at. All right, is there any public comment regarding this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion, bring it back to the board for action.
Move to approve the
I already
agreement.
got the motion.
Oh,
made.
I noticed that.
It's in my district too.
Can't
so-
see it.
Oh, don't
Oh, it
put
is
it
in your district.
Yeah,
as well, yeah.
it's showing you.
We have a motion and a second. Supervisor Wheeler made the motion, Supervisor Rogers made the second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
I just wanted to thank the staff and everything. It took us a while to get this all worked out, but it's come out really good on top of it, so.
I'd like to echo that as well. To capture an old song, nobody does it better, Matt. You guys are great.
Yeah.
Big thank you to Matt Watson as well.
Matt Watson,
Yeah,
too, yeah.
Matt included in that as
Yeah.
well.
So we don't have to look across the river now.
Yep.
All right, 7D is been pulled, 7E.
7E, Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency for the Madera, Chowchilla, and Delta Mendota Subbasin and Natural Resources Department. 1, update on groundwater sustainability plan development for the Madera Subbasin. 2, update on groundwater sustainability plan development for the Chowchilla Subbasin. And 3, update on groundwater sustainability plan for development for the Delta Mendota Subbasin.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Stephanie and Agneson, Director of Water and Natural Resources. This is your monthly update on groundwater sustainability plans and the groundwater sustainability agencies. So first, I'd like to highlight 2 outreach opportunities. This is the Public Policy Institute of California, which had a workshop at Fresno State on February 22nd. They were assessing the future of water in the San Joaquin Valley, so a very timely topic, and they came away with 6 items that they wanted to stress. And because we are also doing these 6 items here, I wanted to mention them to you. Assessing infrastructure, incentivizing recharge, as you heard earlier during public comment, developing rules for water trading, clarifying how much water is available for recharge, facilitating approvals for trading and for banking projects, and coordination with other agencies to maximize benefits. So those were outcomes that they shared out at their meeting and things we're working on here as well. We also did a tour on Friday of 3 stops, Agraland, Fairmead, and the Ellis Basin. We had 35 people and we drove ourselves to each stop. We learned about farming and the challenges faced by Agraland, which is a large farm management company. We learned about Fairmead, which is a disadvantaged community, and their challenges with clean and reliable water. And then we went to the county-owned Ellis Basin, owned by Rhodes, that recharges with stormwater, as well as being able to tap into MID's lateral when we have extra water.
Al, your red jacket is a dead giveaway in any picture.
I know.
Yes, so 35 people, and many of them are in this room who went on the tour.
Yeah. Good.
In terms of subbasin updates, in the Madera subbasin, we still have 7 GSAs and 4 GSPs. We do have an upcoming coordination committee meeting, and so those had been on hiatus for a while before we had more information to share publicly, but we are having one March 21st at the Frank Bergen Senior Center. It will be 3 to 6 in the afternoon, and we'll do outreach about that. So that means, Mr. Chairman, that the coordination committee members are back.
Oh, good.
Then in the Chowchilla Subbasin, they have a similar committee. They refer to it as the Advisory Committee, and that's meeting March 27th, so a week later. At both of these meetings, we're going to be sharing out the results of our groundwater and surface water modeling. So these are important opportunities. In the Delta Mendota Subbasin, they have a separate situation. We've discussed that a little before with 23 GSAs and 6 GSPs, so a lot of fun there. They're determining sustainable yield right now. And I do want to caution you, you are going to see the Delta Mendota Subbasin looking better than the Madera and the Chowchilla Subbasins for a couple of reasons. One is the San Joaquin River Exchange contractors are there. They can bring 750,000 to 800,000 acre feet of water in a year. So very large amounts of water. That's pretty much the best contract in California for water. There's much less wide area. And they're also, the Delta Mendota runs north-south, sort of a strange skinny shape. They are geographically contained. There isn't the potential to keep putting more acres into irrigated lands. So different situation in the Delta Mendota. We have in the county about 1,000 acres that are in that subbasin, but that subbasin is looking better and probably closer to being sustainable.
Yeah,
see,
lower relax rights.
That's right.
There's 6 GSPs. Which group of GSPs are we tied in with?
So we're in the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors, GSP.
Good choice.
Thank you. I didn't make that. That was previous staff. And the CCID person is our lead contact there.
Good.
Chris White?
No, Jarrett Martin, but
Jarrett.
yes, under Chris White.
Yeah, right. He's great.
Absolutely. So in other news, I wanted to make sure I showed this postcard. If you farm in Madera County, you should be getting something in the mail that will announce a survey coming to you. The Water Foundation has given grant funds to a researcher who used to be from UC Davis and is now out of Vermont, but she works in California on farmers and their attitudes. So she worked with our local farm bureau, and they brought us in to check portions of the survey and make sure the questions were relevant. So what they will be gauging is farmer awareness of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, and they can trace awareness based by person to which GSA they're in. So there are going to be some interesting results from the survey.
That'd be good.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to update you on our RFQs. So for the Department of Water Resources, we went out for, I think, $1.8 million in grant funds for groundwater monitoring well installation in severely disadvantaged communities. We've received 4 proposals. We're still evaluating them, but we should have that done this week. We issued an RFQ for the Water Market Strategy Grant. This is the Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart Grant for $400,000 that allows us to develop a water market here. That deadline is this Friday. We just closed the Q&A period on that, and we also have an RFQ out for a rate/engineering consultant to develop GSA-related funding. So we have a lot going on.
No kidding.
In terms of next meeting dates, I will come back to you next month, but we have an advisory committee for the GSAs that's meeting this Thursday at 2 o'clock here in the county government headquarters with 2 primary topics. One is the glide path discussion, which is how you implement gradual demand reduction at the same time bringing in more and more supply. And then the other topic is the crediting system. So if I'm farming and I put in a basin on my own land and I partner with someone to bring in new water, what kind of credit do I get towards water so to have more in order to farm? So this concludes my presentation. I'd be glad to take your questions.
Are there any questions?
I just wanted to thank her. I mean, geez, it's so nice to have all these updates on what's really happening. It is so important for us right now in the county to keep on top of this water situation. It's not going to get any better, Phil.
Right.
Thank you for a great job.
Thank you.
I can say ditto, and I can say that we've got the right lady at the helm there on this. She does fantastic. And not only does she have a good rapport with the farming community and all the users and the interested parties, but excellent grasp of the whole situation overall.
Right.
Amazing. You never cease to amaze me.
Oh, thank you. And I enjoy my job very much.
I'm glad. I can tell.
All right, is there any public comment regarding this?
Mr. Robertson's leaving, he must be drowned it out.
Yeah.
That
Miss
water
our bird.
report's got to him.
Igor Trebach. First, I'd like to commend and really, I've been enjoying seeing Stephanie working and pushing things along. It's great to see. There's one thing that she brought up in her report that I think we need to continue and push forward, and that's incentivizing investment, both by government, whether it's public, private, and private. I think if we can somehow create some kind of not necessarily an entity, but a driving force towards that mechanism, I think it will help Stephanie along. I think there's a lot that needs to be done, and if this government body will help move it along, whether it's in Sacramento, whether it's DWR, whether it's with the Sigma, with the grants, but the white area needs our help, okay? And investing money will definitely, be brought into the act if the credit part is actually there. So creating some kind of a mechanism to help that, to advertise it, and to bring it together, I believe would also be very helpful to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Rogers?
In conjunction with what Igal was just saying, we are already in a mode of public-private partnerships in order to improve levees. We're taking ownership of portions of property in order to obtain the ability to get grants and do the repairs that we need to do. I think the same type of system could be utilized for getting grants and incentivizing on the side of groundwater recharge projects. And I think we could do something very similar to that. And more discussion can be had in that regard, but definitely an option. If we can't get the state to see that private entities need to have the ability and credit for these type of projects, then definitely we'll move in the direction of the county doing that, owning it and moving forward with grants and getting those things done. So I think that's a good point, and I certainly take your point to heart.
Is there any other public comment? Not, I'll call close to the public comment portion. Also, I wanted to, in that we're talking about the exchange of water, a water market, I just want to kind of reemphasize that would be a water market within Madera County boundaries, and then that water can't be sold outside of Madera County.
Oh, that's absolutely right. There's a groundwater ordinance. You cannot sell groundwater outside of Madera County.
Okay, I'm just always going to say that and make sure that that's always there, and that, because there's going to be, I'm guessing there's going to be some pushes at different times from a lot of our municipal water districts out of to the south of the Grapevine that are going to be trying to buy water rights, and we don't need Chinatown here in Madera County.
No, I'd actually like to buy water from them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
How much are they going to pay?
Yeah. All right. So thank you for that update. If there's no further comments on it, we'll move to everybody's favorite topic, 7F.
7F, County Administration Department, General Services Division. Discussion and direction to staff to pursue one of the following bird control options for the Government Center parking garage. Option 1, installation of bird exclusion measures. Option 2, falconry and trapping program. Option 3, installation of bird exclusion measures in parking garage and falconry program for the government center.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Maria Miranda with General Services, here with Joe Bugay, our Deputy CAO for Finance, and Raymond Huerta, our Building Maintenance Supervisor. On January 8th, your board directed staff to return with options and cost comparisons for pigeon control measures here at the parking garage and government center. Staff obtained quotes for services, and the County Administration Department provided a present value cost comparison over a 20-year period. Services discussed at the last meeting included exclusion measures such as netting, spikes, as well as falcon-based hazing and trapping. So before your board today are 3 potential options to address the ongoing pigeon problem. Each option includes ongoing window washing and power washing services, but at different frequency levels depending on the option and the projected need. Also included in the cost is the ongoing annual contribution of $10,000 to the Madera Downtown Association to deal with the crow problem in downtown Madera. So option 1 is strictly the installation of bird exclusion measures at the government center and parking garage. So this is netting and spikes, bird wire, etc. There's also a trapping component here to remove the resident birds prior to installing the exclusion measures. Pros for the option are that labor and product are guaranteed by the vendor, and we're looking at a one-time cost to the general fund. However, cons include physical alterations to our buildings as well as a high upfront cost out of pocket on day 1. The total estimated cost over a 20-year period is $914,720. Option 2 would include falcon-based hazing and trapping only. So this would include a 2-month trapping program where the resident pigeon population is removed, and then 3 months of falcon-based hazing to ensure that new pigeons don't make the government center and parking garage their home. Pros of this option are that there are no alterations made to our building and it spreads out the cost over years. Cons of this option are that the work is not guaranteed and the work and costs are ongoing as well as staff oversight of the issue. The total estimated cost over a 20-year period for this option is $966,419. Option 3 would be a hybrid solution where we tackle the pigeons in the parking garage with netting and utilize falconry for the government center. So pros for this option are that it is less upfront cost out of pocket. It ensures the parking garage is pigeon free on day 1, which is really from a facility standpoint our biggest health and safety issue right now. And it ensures that the product for the parking garage is guaranteed. And also the netting is not overly noticeable, so it won't have the same alteration to the building as spikes would. Cons are that the government center would not be guaranteed, and then costs for the government center would be ongoing. The total estimated cost for this option over 20 years is $951,105. So just to illustrate the ongoing issues at the parking garage, these pictures were taken on Friday. So we're still seeing a pigeon issue going on there. They like to nest in the nooks and ledges all over the parking garage. They also like to perch on the fire sprinkler lines in there. So from health and safety perspective, again, our biggest concern, and we would like to see at least the parking garage addressed as soon as possible. And with that, we're available for questions.
Supervisor Wheeler.
Yeah, this is the first option, you got a 20-year deal. I thought when they bid on that to do those spikes and the trapping and netting, that was around $270,000 with a 15-year guarantee.
So for option 1, we did a 20-year cost because most of the product is guaranteed for 20 years. So they're going to guarantee the product and the cost for a 20-year period. I think the netting had a 15-year product guarantee. So what they're saying that if anything happens with the netting that isn't related to someone actually carrying the net, then they'll come out and they'll replace it. If we're getting pigeons after they install it, they will come back, reevaluate the situation and ensure that they eliminate the pigeon problem. So that's their guarantee from an installation perspective. But we did the analysis for 20 years based off the product guarantee of a 20-year.
Yeah. And that's that $25,000 every quarter we're paying to
clean, right? So the way. Yeah, so what we're doing, $25,000 per cleaning includes the window washing of the government center, power washing the exterior of the government center, and then power washing the parking garage, and then all the walkways, the fire lane, and then the sidewalks.
Getting all the poop off.
All the poop off everywhere. So since we're going, if we went with option one, we were going to reduce that to only 2 times a year. If we went with option two, we calculated 2.25 times a year just because we don't know exactly how that process is going to work since we're not having the exclusion measures. With option three, we actually broke it out, so we would only do parking garage once a year since we would have netting there, and then we would do government center, fire lane, and sidewalks 2.25 times a year.
So the first one is that they were going to trap two, right?
Correct.
Initially to catch all those.
Yes. So any option is going to include trapping. We want to remove the resident birds so that they're relocated or euthanized, and then proceed with the secondary measure of either exclusion or falconry. So we need to couple it in order for it to be successful. We wouldn't want to do just ongoing trapping. It wouldn't make sense to do that.
So the 20-year cost at 914, so that'd be about $45,000 a year, and plus cleaning a couple times.
It would be the 240, I think it was, out of pocket for all the exclusion measures for the parking garage and government center.
Right.
And then $50,000 a year for cleaning costs, so 2 times a year, $25,000. And then we have the $10,000 contribution to the Downtown Madera Association for the crow abatement, because that's a separate
20-year period?
measure. For this analysis, yes, just so it's on apples to apples.
Analysis, whether we do it or not.
Right, just so it's
Okay, I
apples to
got it.
apples.
I just wanted to break it down so I knew what I had. I had this old one that I had, and I wanted to make sure they matched, so that you gave us before. Thank you.
I have a couple questions on the, how often would the falconry be for the government center? And is that for pigeons and crows? Since pigeons are an ongoing, how often would that be?
Right, so the crows, they do at night. So they do come in at night, and crows are seasonal. So they'll come in as part of the Downtown Association contract for the bigger downtown Madera area. And they'll come, they start in November, December, and they're working through April. And then they start off with 4 nights a week, and then they taper down March, April, so it's 2 to 3 times a week through April. So for us here, they would do the falconry actually during the day. So that's when the pigeons are out and about, because with the crow abatement, it's taking care of pigeons at night on the government center, but during the day, they still come and nest. So he would come during the day, and he would visit, I think he said, multiple times a week, and generally in 3-hour shifts.
I tried to hit it again, it won't let me.
So, and for how long?
The entire program he's recommending right now is 5 months. So it's 3 months of trapping, 2 months of trapping, 3 months of falconry. And the vendor's thoughts is that he would not have to return within that year. He felt comfortable saying that 5-month period would address the problem for the year. When we asked him for ongoing costs, because we said, pigeons are constantly procreating, every month more pigeons are born. He said for budgeting purposes, he would say he would need to come out to do falconry work every other year at a tune of $5,000 a year. So what we budgeted in is we did $2,500 a year just to assume that cost annually for a 20-year period.
Okay, and then just one of the things, just to put into perspective the amount of cost here. So currently we're doing quarterly cleanings of the government center and the parking garage. What is that per year right now?
It's $25,000 a cleaning, so it's $100,000 if we're doing it quarterly. The goal is to do it quarterly, budget permitting. So
that over 20 years is $2 million.
$1.6 million.
$1.6 million. So to do this, and that includes cleaning that we're going to still have to do in that 951 for the hybrid 96.
Right.
So while it looks like a big cost, it's actually a savings over the life of the 20 years. I think is an important distinction to note that
yes.
we're actually saving money by spending this
Half
money.
almost.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm talking about any of the options is going to, any of these options is going to be a significant shift in overall cost.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman,
Our thing quit
things aren't
working.
working.
I stopped at anything past here.
Okay.
No, go ahead. I see it.
That side it works, our side it don't.
I just didn't want to, I wanted to clarify, I don't think we said what option we as staff are recommending. We're recommending option 1. Obviously, it's up to your board, we wanted to lay out all the options, but that was the option that we would carry forward as staff's recommendation.
That has the warranty.
Yes.
And there is a warranty on the hybrid option as well.
For the parking garage,
For the
correct.
parking garage, but not for the government center.
Correct.
Okay. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, thank you. So this first one, option one, that has those falconers coming in there too?
No, option one is purely exclusion. So option one,
I
we
just
yeah.
soon not have that myself. Personally, I like option one and forget the Falcons.
All right. Is there any other questions of staff? If not, I'll take it out to the public. Any comment from the public? Seeing none, I'll call close to the public comment.
I can't even make a motion. I'm trying to make it and I won't do it.
So what is your motion?
To approve option one.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
No, only because I liked option 3.
And Supervisor Frazier?
No, only because I liked option 3. But vote passes 3-2.
Right. And the reason I think the vote links wasn't working was this was agendized as discussion and direction, and so we didn't put it in as a voting item. So we'll have to work on that in the future.
Mr. Chairman, if I may clarify, the follow-up to this item would need to be a budget item, and that would need to pass 4-1.
Okay.
Just to clarify that.
Okay. All right, so that is it for 7F. Item 8, we have one pending legislation.
Okay. Can you, okay. Chairman, Board, Shalaya Holly Young, Supervisor Wheeler, Chief of Staff. I'm here to get a consensus to send a letter opposing Assembly Bill 273, which is a prohibition on fur trapping for fur-bearing and non-game animals. And the reason is because there are already extensive laws in place to ensure that this is done humanely, and there are already laws in place to protect endangered species in California.
So we just don't need another
Yeah.
law? Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Here's
you.
your one to sign, if you want to sign it. And then, Mr. Chairman, will that work now? Well, still won't let me speak.
All right. Do you want to do it during your supervisor report?
No, this is for the
Pending
legislation too.
Okay.
You know, that Chris Peterson, you know, from Kings County.
Craig?
Huh?
Craig?
Craig, geez. Got Chris on my mind. So, that USMCA letter that he would like to get signed, and I just wondered, you know, it goes to the president on our water stuff, if you would like to have that. I'd like to, I don't know, you should have got it
Yeah.
from him, and this was a new, Julianne Phillips sent it from King County. I guess she's the Division of Water and Natural Resources there. And she was asking us to sign that, and I think that it's a good
It's regarding the trade
with
yeah.
China and Mexico, and I think that we should follow through with our fellow supervisors.
I'm good.
Good.
Yep. Ag sales.
Next. All right.
Okay.
So I'll sign that as well. All right. Supervisor and staff reports. I'll start to my right. Supervisor Poitras.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had an opportunity to join Stephanie last Friday on the water tour, and I think what I found the most interesting part was the recharge basin that's actually a road project. I think they recharged like 800 acre-feet last year, so that's pretty interesting. We had an Arts Authority meeting a couple weeks ago. I attended a Moore's meeting this week, and that's the agency that's working with the city of Madera to move forward on that 24-unit project downtown. And also, I took part in a San Joaquin Valley Policy Council telephone meeting yesterday for the Water Subcommittee, and Supervisor Wynn was chastised by the chairman for not having more information for the report. So, and you never guess who the chairman is.
It's the, Rudy.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Thank you.
I've been meeting with some of the residents in Parkwood, and apparently they're having an animal problem out there. But some of the residents have been bit, and police wouldn't take a report. Animal control would not do anything about that. So I've arranged for trying to get a meeting with all people involved so that we can come to some type of solution to take care of these problems.
Is that the roosters and stuff out there?
They are, but they won't take. One resident got bit by a pit bull.
Oh.
And he tried to make a report, they wouldn't accept it. And animal control was too busy. So that's where we're at.
I've been touring flooding of facilities. There's been a lot of activity around levees collapsing, and then of course in MD21 we've had some flooding due to clogged drain facilities. It's a kind of a natural drainage facility, and I went through yesterday and I followed the natural drainage course in MD21 to its conclusion. I drove around and I'd walk part of it, and it was really quite interesting to find that there's just some maintenance pinch points where we're going to have to get our staff out into those areas and before seasons and do some actual shovel work to clear some of those areas. I spent about 15 minutes pulling grass out of one spot, and I literally tripled the flow of water just by hand because I didn't have a shovel with me, but I took pictures of it as I was doing it, and it just literally began to pour out of the area there. So it's interesting, just a little bit of work in those areas to remove debris and grass and things that are hindering the flow of water, like the Arundel situation in the canals, makes a big difference.
Did you find any?
Really does.
Did you find any nutria out there? Nutria.
Oh, nutria, no. I saw some what looked like maybe nutria dens, but I was looking for that, in fact. So.
Thank you. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, thank you. Last week, the girl that actually grew up in North Fork, she's the PTA chairman of the PTA in Bullard High School. So it was on Channel 30 actually on Thursday night, I think. I was there Friday. They have one of their new senior requirements at Bullard is to do a job interview with professionals. And there's all kinds of dates if you guys would like to do it sometime. But anyway, I was set on an interview panel for 8 different students, and we grade them. There's a point system from 1 to 100, whether they bring in their resume, their transcript, their letter to ask for the job and stuff like that. And it's amazing what some of these kids do. I was shocked with some of them. I mean, they're bright, intelligent. Some of them didn't bring nothing. Some of them dressed like Okies like me. And we told them all that, hey, when you go for a job interview, you better look your best. So, and then tomorrow I'm heading for Shingle Springs for the Sierra Nevada Conservancy quarterly meeting, where we give out a lot of money for these fuel breaks and stuff like that around our communities. And I was just wondering, one of the things I wanted to ask, we haven't done a mid-year budget review. Are we going to?
We can certainly do that.
Huh?
We can certainly do that.
We usually do that to see where we are, and we're 8 months in the year now, and I was just wondering what's going on.
We're actually already putting together the 1920 budget, so we'll definitely get on that. I'll talk to Joel this afternoon.
Okay.
CEO?
Nothing to report.
No report, Chairman.
Madam Clerk?
No report, Chairman.
And then for mine, I attended another 5.5-hour meeting regarding the San Joaquin River Conservancy and access. Spending way too much time on a City of Fresno project, trying to bring everybody together. It's a very divisive thing. The most accurate thing I think that's ever been it was very frustrating to me, but the most accurate thing that's ever been written about me in the press was on the GV wire, the first line was, Supervisor Frazier storms out of Fresno City Hall, his face as red as his hair. Because I was, some people were sending, they're like, that's so, like, whatever, bad. I go, no, I wear that one as a badge of honor. He was actually accurate in his reporting. And then I'd like to thank Supervisor Poitras for stepping in and making a quorum at Workforce Development Board. That was my fault. I had spaced it. I was fixing a toilet. But I appreciate you being there and taking.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort.
Right.
Yes, it is.
I got one more thing.
And then also,
go ahead.
OCTC, we attended and had an update on everything that was going on with Measure T, and the monies have really been used very well, and there's a lot of projects that are able to move forward in both the cities and the county because of Measure T. And so I think it was a good to see all of that and see not just what has been done, but what's in the hopper and what it's able to do. So.
And the extra money from SB1.
And the SB1 money that comes because of that is supremely important to have that. So you had one more?
Yeah, I just forgot when I went to Bullard. I even had it wrote down there. Sheila went with me. She went with me just to see what it was because she graduated from Bullard High. And so one of the interviewers couldn't be there the whole time, so she stepped in and she was one of the interviewees too. So
they also do that at Madera Unified as well. I've
they do?
Done a lot of interviews with them.
That's cool.
It's a requirement. And I remember I was talking to one kid, and he didn't really know what to talk about, and he says to me, "Do you think it would be good for me to bring up the fact that I'm an Eagle Scout?" I said, you should probably lead with that, right? And
no
so
kidding.
but it was interesting to get it out of him, and he didn't realize if that was a good time to put it in. I said, that carries a lot of respect with it. You should,
Darn right.
But you're right. It's great to see like where these kids have come from,
Minds
and
are,
where they're going, and so I know they're always looking for interviewees from Madera Unified as well.
It's been a program for over 20 years at Madera Unified.
Yeah.
They have been doing it?
Mhm.
This is
For
their
over
first
20
year
years.
for Bullard, so.
Okay.
I think it's a great deal for them. I mean, I'd like to have had that when I was that age. And it was surprising, the girls and the guys, I think out of the 7 we interviewed, 4 of them are thinking about a career in service.
Yeah.
Army, Navy, and what have you. So it's pretty interesting.
Well, great. And I wanted to get it done before noon, but it looks like we're 12:02.
I did it, huh?
Adjourned. It was Tom.
My fault. God damn. Should happen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good job. I didn't expect this to be done this quick. Yeah, me neither.
Efficiency.
Oh, yeah, I think he's got it.
Okay, Robin needs to see it.
Okay. Brett,